And so if you can, well, arrange it to be there somewhere or another, it doesn't have to be very difficult. Anything that would just put your eyes and ears in the right place, that would be wonderful. This ambassador from Nepal is, how can I say, he hasn't done much really. He just stands there, sits there, talks to people. You would think such an outside influence would have to try to do something, but aside from doing lavish parties and entertaining all manner of powerful and influential people, he doesn't seem to wield any influence himself, and I find that very, very curious. A man who could change many things apparently chooses to do none of those things. In my experience, not do anything is as could be as harmful as doing anything at all. So if we could have some eyes on him from time to time, very interesting. Now tell me, what do you think of this Gregory fellow that you follow? What do you think his future lies? How would you assess him?
He's really interesting. He's I'd say, the leader of our band. Um, and his word carries the most weight, particularly because Harmon will back him up, no questions asked. So he carries the weight of at least two men, one of which is, you know, quite a strong soldier. I do not know what his motives are precisely, except that they seem to be straightforward. They seem to be aligned with his family and nobility, and yes, he seems to wish to be a magistrate. At the same time, he is quite vain, so that is definitely a factor with which he can be manipulated. But yes, he does not seem to have ulterior motives, I would say.
Lion of ambition. I've never heard of that one before. Uh, I found it very intriguing. He was willing to pay for this young fox's position. That seemed to be inspired. I like people who do inspiring things, especially with money. A man who's willing to spend is always someone who might be willing to borrow. I'll keep that in mind. You do keep close to him, won't you, my dear Dax?
I will. Your
Mhm.
interest in him will create an interest in me to get to know him better.
Yes. And you will receive your recompense in the usual manner, of course. Um, well, thank you. Now, I believe my food is coming in, and I ordered only for one. I would hate to eat in front of company. That is just so gross.
Yeah,
So, if you would excuse me,
of course, understood. And
thank
I'll
you.
I'll take my leave. Out of character, can you spell the person's name whose party I'm going to?
Yes, his name is Charles. Charles. His name is Charles. Ambassador to Adoquan, I think it is. That's how you mention Rafferty. Is that the way you pronounce that? Or am I mispronouncing it? The Avoirdupois. Dubois. Uh,
Thank you.
um, he's going by first names, right? Why he's not mentioning his family name, or maybe they will be, but it's complex. So actually, no, his family name is Martel, Charles Martel. So people who may know a little French history might recognize that name. Otherwise, not important. Charles the Hammer. And we go to Gregory. Actually, no, before we go, I think Rafferty dropped out of the call. Can you hear me?
I think I'm still here.
Yeah, but your camera's off.
Yeah, the camera I think failed.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Uh,
That was
Rafferty,
weird.
does Vesper answer to anyone? He's not ordained yet.
No,
Is
I'm not
he?
ordained. So as a lay monk, I have to. I'm here to provide charity for folks. Yeah, sorry, I got some weird response. I thought the camera was dead. It turns out it was live.
Hmm. Oh, so Still off, but the technical difficulties, no worry.
Is it back now?
Nope.
It looks like it's loading.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's coming back. I think.
There we go.
Okay.
I turned it off and turned it back on again.
There you go. Basic. Do you have a superior you answer to that you would be interested in?
Well, yes, I have a higher calling that we all answer. But more seriously, no. Since I got here, basically I'm the spiritual advisor to Gregory. So, but I am here to provide charity. I'm a genuine spirit, so I would be looking. If the care is as big as you say it is, and the reach of Salmer is as great as you say as it should be, then I would assume there would be some representation here.
Oh, there's a cathedral here. Definitely.
Well, cathedrals take like hundreds of years to build. There's probably a church.
There's a church. Oh, well, rather large church, and there's smaller parishes.
Right, like a large church.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. And is it Orthodox or is it because I know that there's the popularity of syncretic religion here, where people are trying to merge the old pagan ways with the new ones.
This one is more Orthodox, right? This is more aligned with the continent.
Yeah, Orthodox gets the money.
Yes, versus more of the local churches, which are more syncretic and sort of the old church.
Right.
New church. This is more new church. This is something. In fact, they are building it up to become a cathedral, which is going to take a while, of course. So they're
Right. Well, the
building it up.
pontiff doesn't send the money if you're going to build one of your namby-pamby Unitarian church.
Yeah, they're certainly making a power play here. So you could visit certainly, but you're
right. And of course, one of the big things of Salmer is offering charity in hospitals, so that's where I would go first.
But right now, as the spiritual advisor to Gregory, you are with Gregory in an adjacent building to the castle itself. And also Harmon is there. Harmon as well. Well, because it's the barracks of the King's Chosen, and really the barracks are almost like its own fortification in its own way, right?
Now, here's the big question: does the castle maintain its own chapel?
Yes.
But when I get there, is it full? I remember the other places had pagan shrines and St. Croix. Is the Lord Orthodox or is he, native pagan?
The council seems to be Orthodox. It seems that Orthodoxy has really taken root in the capital itself. Whether or not the regular people, partake of a mixture of these things, and in fact, the spring holiday itself, it's more of a tradition of the old church, right? That the spring and equinox and all that are more akin to the syncretic thing. But for the moment, the Orthodoxy is sort of like, yes, of course, yes, this is what you're doing. Okay, fine, sure. We're not gonna deal with it too much. But from time to time, when you're in the city, you hear the whispers and even some of the preaching against the old ways. Like there should be a reform, and people should consider and dedicate themselves away from the earthly and into the spiritual. And you hear more of that as they're gaining more ground. But right now, Harmon, Gregory, and yourself are in the barracks, in the office of the Lord Chamberlain of the King's Chosen, the King's Guard, and she is leading there, and people are coming and going, etc. You know most of these people because they're the members of the King's Chosen. And Gregory, you were brought before her, and she's sort of working in some papers, etc. Describe her for us.
So you're saying it's a her. Let's do something fun. Let me take a look at my list of species here. What's a fun species? Close my eyes. Hey, how about they're a ferret? So they're a very energetic ferret, going about their business. Probably very prim, proper, and probably a fair bit more serious than Gregory is.
And you see that there's stacks of books, of ledgers, and there's paper everywhere. There's a method to the madness. It's not just piled up. It seems to be, it's a volume of papers that she needs to deal with, and she's doing her best to just keep it as ordered as possible. Like, and she looks up to you, and she has like little, glasses, and looks like, there, Gregory.
Lord
Finally, you come
Chamberlain.
back. I read your report.
You
Harmon.
did? Well, I was hoping I'd get to just tell you about it myself. Well, if you have, I guess you already know what I was gonna say then.
Well, if you have any more details for me, now would be the chance. And he basically signals to several of the guards to stand by the doors, and it feels like the air sort of changed from more formal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have anything to add to the record, I will have it right here. And somebody comes in as a scribe is sort of ready to take note, whatever you're going to add to this.
To the record, I don't think there's much of anything. I put most of it down to writing already for you. You know about the boat and Felix, of course. And I think he's going to be actually a good asset to us. He's young, he's well trained, and of course, if he's out here, I don't think his uncle's going to cause any trouble either. That seemed to be about all that his uncle was training up, now that I think about it. He had his own forces, but I think these squires would have been what he might have gone on to do any further feuding with. With them out of the picture, I don't think anything's going to happen anymore.
Very well. And put your name of your family at Advance Your Family. Because, of course, it came out of your own pocket.
Well, I suppose so. I mean, you read the part where it has a cannon, right?
Yes.
It would be foolish to just let that sail away, wouldn't it? I mean, it is a cannon.
And it would require a crew, require some people. Yes, I understand. And she stands up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Rafferty, Harmon, and the others, and everybody sort of stands up. It is my pleasure to announce a writ from the council itself. It is in the day of the Lord today that we announced Sir Gregory is now Magistrate Gregory, with all the powers and responsibilities that come with it. I'll hand to you and puts a wax seal in. May he serve long, the king, the High King, in his duty of the law. And people sort of clap, and there's she hands you the document.
Right, and Gregory will maintain his composure for a bit and go, "Yes, I accept this right and responsibility. Thank you very much." And of course, he'll look to Harmon and he'll conspiratorially whisper, "It's like, we did it, we did it."
You'll have a few days to celebrate. I believe there's a gala of some sort that the ambassador from Ironclaw is putting together. It's a good place to go as any. Of course, you can just go slumming it if you want to. There's a new bathhouse that opened. Not my
Oh yes,
taste,
I've heard about those actually, but well, what's a good party without me?
I like the spirit of it, Gregory. Yes,
I don't suppose you'd come along and drink with us as well, would you?
Alas, the council's demanding more and more attention.
I don't know. And Gregory will put his hand on a little bit of the inbox paperwork and slightly move it to the outbox. You have so much time now.
And she looks at you and she's like,
and I'm just smiling like a big friend.
Don't mess with the paperwork. Just don't.
No.
That's not the thing we do here. And the scribe is like, oh, I hope she's in a good mood. And she's like,
well, I suppose if you're buried in paperwork, I'll try to remember to bring you a drink later then.
I would appreciate it. Something flowery, I suppose.
Flowery.
The other parts are like their light wines. Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. There has to be something very nice out there.
Well, without further ado, unless you have anything else, Harmon, perhaps?
Quick question. Could I get the name again?
The name of the Lord Chamberlain?
Yes.
Let's come up with a name. She. Uh, Claire. Claire. Her name is Claire.
There we go. Claire, Lord Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ferret.
Yes. Uh, and basically, and once it's done, everybody sort of a bit clamps down a little bit and starts going back to the business. Like, well, I suppose you get to it. You'll have a few days before I have something for you. So I will reach you wherever it is that you are. Well, let me ask you something, Gregory. Do you? I think most people would stay in the barracks, but do you stay in the barracks or do you have your own residence?
I actually think I probably have my own residence. Nonetheless, I
You know,
probably like am within town anyway, so I'll say like, of course, you'll know where to find me. I'll be back every day.
Kitty. I think Harmon stays in the barracks. I think everybody else stays in the barracks unless you decide not to. The barracks, I mean, they're a combination of, yes, a place for people for the guards to stay, but also it's the offices of the King's Guard. So, you know, it doubles as an administrative center as well. And as you go out, people are preparing for the spring festival. It again on your way here, it rained quite a bit, but it seems to be today seems to be a little overcast, which is not strange for spring. But it's rained quite a bit, and so everything seems a bit damp, and people's spirits are a bit down. Right, they're bracing themselves for another rainy year, which may have a lot of flooding. Right, and that might be a thing, but hopefully the new so yeah, so that's the thing. And one of it, what are you going to do to prepare for this party?
Well,
Yeah, so
go ahead. You first.
I was thinking maybe that night I would show up at your place, Gregory, with a few bottles of really nice wine to celebrate. You becoming a magistrate. That's awesome.
Fantastic. Anything flowery among these?
Of course, yes. I know
yes.
your
Let's set
your
that off
taste.
to the side and. I was just
Wow.
I was just cleaning up for the night. How have things been?
Things have been well. Of course, this rain is quite, off-putting. But I'm looking forward to some of these summer festivals. What about you?
Oh, well, I've always loved the festivals. It's just such a wonderful time. So many people out there just having so much fun. It's hard to avoid the energy of it. I think there's actually a party this night. I'm thinking maybe I have the clout to crash it. I meant to look into it, but I spent a little bit too much time bathing. You wouldn't happen to have heard the name of someone named Charles, would you? He's an ambassador, I hear.
No, I, but I don't travel in the same circles as you. But if you'd like, I apologize.
It's okay.
If you'd like to attend the party, I would certainly love to go with you.
Oh, well, that'd be fantastic. The only thing is, like I said, I hadn't actually looked too deeply yet into if we might need an invitation or if he has a specific circle he runs with. Maybe we could spend a little bit of time on that this evening and make sure that we don't exactly show up unannounced. That would just be rude.
That's very considerate of you, and I agree. Let's do that. Let's plan on that.
So your plan is to find some kind of invitation. Gregory,
Yeah.
you know that there's, this is in the capital. There's plenty of ambassadors and officials from across the Isles, as well as from, closer to the mainland, from Calabria.
Mm-hmm.
What you heard about this ambassador, that actually his residence is not in the city itself. He has an estate outside of the city.
Right.
So he's apparently someone of means, right? Close by, not more than an hour or so away, and by carriage. But still, someone who can command that kind of, its own estate. It's someone who really has some clout, right? At least has money anyway.
Hmm.
And so you start finding. I mean, your family's well known. You're newly minted magistrate, so word has gone around that you're up and coming. For you to find someone who can sort of invite you as their second, right, would not be very hard. Who do you
Right.
find that facilitates that for you? You know.
Okay, that's very easy enough, and that invitation would extend to like other guests I want to bring in my own retinue, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Of course. Hey Vesper, you want to get drunk?
Sir, you presume one does not drink until excess until one becomes an inebriated buffoon.
You're right. You know what? Perhaps just to say this differently, would you like to give thanks to the Lord via the earthly bounty Salumer has bestowed upon us in the form of drink?
Well, life is to be celebrated. I suppose I can. So, my lord, did you ask with this new office that you were about to attend, does it pay a salary or a stipend?
Uh, you know, I actually forgot to ask on my way in and out. I believe she will normally send a letter with these kind of arrangements. She knows my eyes sort of glaze over when we have to actually speak at length about it.
And you should really inquire about those things. And I'm not just saying that because I'm concerned about how much of your income that you're tithing to the church.
Well, I know at least, my family has my back on that, but, I definitely do need to make sure everyone that, we work with gets
Seriously,
paid.
can you really be giving too much to the great works?
Very true. I'll make sure the church gets its share as well as you.
But for now, we should be merry and celebrate life.
I agree.
Thank you so much. I humbly accept the invitation.
So that already makes me, Vesper, and Dax, Arbin. I'm going to get you drunk one of these days. And I think one of those days is approaching.
Not anytime soon.
Can you be sure he's not one of those functional drunks? Like he's not drunk right now?
Well, he'd have to be very fast about it. I've never seen it happen. Maybe he's doing it faster than our mortal perception is able to take in, and that is why he's not getting drunk with us.
One of those turbo tipplers. I've heard about this. Awesome kegs done quick.
Well, one way or another, Harmon, I am going to take you to this party, and at the very least, I will make sure that you socialize this time instead of just brooding to yourself. You will make a friend. I'm going to make certain of that. Unlike last time.
I'm your bodyguard. I serve one duty.
You could stand to enjoy life a little bit more. Just look how much Vesper enjoys it.
Really, helping other people is a joy unto itself.
I
I enjoy my life just fine.
Well, we'll drink together sometime then. You're still coming. I suppose we need to rope in Spencer to this, but how are we going to convince this internal monk of the mind to come and drink with us?
He's a university student. It should take very little cajoling at all.
You're right. Spencer! I'm here at the window. You want to get drunk?
I could be persuaded to enjoy a party.
Get your green and purple ass up here. We're going to party.
I have an experiment in the mind for you. How many drinks can you handle?
Oh, sir, I will say this. I can make a person feel drunk without actually imbibing any.
Maybe you could do the reverse for someone later.
That's a little harder.
Yeah, that spell is like all the unpleasantness being drunk.
Well, there's a couple of spells for it: ataxia and perplexing.
Yeah, none of those are the good parts of being drunk.
But yeah, Spencer, come with us. I'll tell you about my inductive theory of drinking.
Very well. I suppose I could stand to learn something new.
So yes, I have roped in all of my friends and co-workers to come and join me.
Perfect. So the night of the party comes in, and it's usual and unusually for recent weeks a clear night. As you go out in the country, of course, you don't have the sort of the lantern and smoke of of the big city, and so they see the stars above. And there's no moon; it's only stars. And you reach this estate, and are you arriving by carriage? Are you arriving on foot? How do you do it? You riding? You took mounts?
I could probably arrange a carriage for us. We'll probably want one to get back to, so...
Could you? How wealthy are you?
My family has been here for several generations. I could go upon the numerous business ventures they're involved with. Not that I'm in charge of any of them, but I do have access to a large amount of retainer that they give me. And, of course, the backing of the bank I'm associated with, too.
Well, I suppose if you can afford it, we
I can
really need to talk about your tithing.
You'll have a better time of it once I'm drunk.
As you approach, I mean, it's a very long line of carriages, right? Sort of going in, stopping, dropping people off, and then driving away. Time and time again. So it's almost like a taxi line in a hotel, right? Coming in, dropping people off, and you drop in, and you're announced. What's Gregory's full title?
Gregory Varkin III, and I suppose at this point his title is Magistrate to the King.
Welcome, Gregory the Third, Magistrate to the King, to the service of Charles Montel, the Ambassador of Ardebois. May you enjoy your evening and may be starlit and party. And you're lit in. There's servants, right? The party's not in the proper estate. It's in the garden, and the garden is very much of a very much so, yeah. And it's sort of a French style garden, right? You have the sort of walls of greenery, kind of maze like. You have what's topiary, that's the word. Topiary in the form of different animals, basically lizards, because that's the type of animal that are used for draft animals and the like, and war. And even some of the species, right? You see, for example, a horse with a sword, right? In one corner, you see a bat sort of taking flight from another, right? So there seems to be the ones that are about intelligent animals, right? Like you are seem to be. You might recognize some of them as from plays or works or books, perhaps. Like
right, you got all the popular characters here.
Exactly. While the ones that are animals are just there for decoration. And these the topiaries, like these bushes are very thick, right? In order to get through them, you have to almost hack through them. So it channels people into these, maze-like corridors and open areas, and there's fountains and the like. And there's a central area in the middle of the maze, particularly large, can hold close to 100 people, right? And you see yourself, and you see many of the dignitaries of. You have several members of the council. You have many dignitaries, and of course, you see the ambassador himself standing very tall. Right, he's an equine. He seems to have a lady on his side. Also, she also sounds very tall, and almost tall enough that he sort of almost has to look down at people down his nose, right? Whether he wants to or not. And he's very gracious. He does a thing where very tall people sort of kind of bound a little bit when they talk to people, right, to get to their level, without sort of crowning over them, right? Being very polite. He's making the rounds, and you meet different people. You meet members of your own family that are there. Do you have any brothers, sisters, cousins that are close to you that might be there?
They're I imagine some are probably at the party. I don't have any in mind at the moment, but feel free to invent some family members for me to commiserate with. I'm perfectly fine with you adding
Do you
anyone you
have
want.
do you have like brothers and sisters?
I'd probably say yes.
Okay. Well, there is a sister, and she's gossiping with some other ladies, and one of them sort of points in your direction and goes like, "Oh, there's your brother," and she just sort of like, "Ah, Gregory, how
Oh,
nice to see you here." And she's like, with
uh,
her eyes like, please go away, you know. It's like she's a little sister to you. You're just
oh,
older.
and here I was hoping I could just sneak up on you again.
Hi. And they're like Adolfina, and they're all lionesses, right? They're all maybe a house cat or two, maybe, you know. They're all
hmm
female in this group of 6 or 7 women, and wearing, very big ball dresses and the like. And they're like, Adolfina, we like to know your brother. And one of them sort of puts his eyes like, oh,
Oh,
hi.
and who is this lovely friend of yours? Gregory even like specifically hams it up, turns to his sister, like gives like a little wink.
She's like, and she's like, Michelle, my lord, I've heard many great things about you. That you, is it true that you just you're one of the king's chosen? That's correct. One of the king's
Oh,
men.
absolutely. Only just recently I've officially become a magistrate.
And
It's quite an honor, truly.
when she says that, you almost didn't see it, but she kind of teleports right to your arm. Like you almost, if this were making like cartoon sounds, you hear the ka-chunk as she sort of wraps around there, around your arm. Is that so? Why didn't you tell Elefina that your brother was a magistrate?
Yes, why
How
didn't you
long?
tell her?
I was getting around to it.
Oh, but you must have been up to so much adventure yourself here in the city. Please tell me. I want to catch up to my dear little sister.
Working in the bank as always. Daddy wants me to be a scribe. I'm very good with numbers, like some other people. But that's it. Just, I don't get to go around the aisles and sail and do whatever it is that you do, supposedly, maybe. No, and the young woman that's with her is like, Adolfina, please, don't be so catty.
Oh, I
You
suppose
can
it's true.
almost
She
hear
doesn't want to
you can
hear about
almost
me
hear
going around the
sort of
aisles and waving my staff around.
and you can almost hear behind somewhere like what, who is it? And other people come in, and as you're having this sort of conversation, the ambassador sort of goes around a particular sort of it looks
hmm
like somebody carved a large pot in a form of topiary. Sort of comes around and with his wife is like, Monsieur, the, uh, the pleasure to meeting you. I've never seen you before. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, my good ambassador. Ah, well, I'm afraid I have the better view. But I am Sir Gregory Varkin III. It's a pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
Family. Your sister is a frequent visitor to our possessions. Um, what brings you to this party?
Why, to have a good time, of course. You've set out such a wonderful offer, it'd be a shame to say no.
Indeed, indeed. And these are your fellows I see around you?
Oh, of
Are you
course.
hanging out? Are you all hanging out in a group, or the moment
Yeah, this
you
is a
hit
good
the
question.
main
As soon
stage,
as
everybody
I start
starts?
working the crowd, how often are you gonna split?
I know Harmon is there because that's his job, right?
Yeah, looming.
And then, yeah,
Yeah,
and,
I would have hung out. So Dax
okay.
is hanging out.
And Vesper and
Oh, I'm also hanging out. In fact, I want to mingle with the crowd because, mingling's what I do.
Right.
And this is a big event.
Uh,
Is it banquet? Are they serving hors d'oeuvres and wine?
oh yeah, there's wine, there's
Oh,
food,
yes.
there's
Hello.
um,
but yes, of course. These are my, these are my fellows, also King's men. Here, allow me to introduce them to you, and I will go through each one, the titles, and try to flower it up a little bit for them too.
Oh, I probably would have mentioned I've already wandered off while you were sitting here
Oh, and I'm sure Vesper is somewhere around here.
Yeah.
When,
Let you.
when you present Harmon, he actually looks at you. I mean, he's a horse, pretty tall. He clicks his heels and so salutes very militarily, like, Monsieur, is this your captain of your guard?
He is. He's my most trusted compatriot. I don't think there's a single place I would go without him, and I'm not sure he'd let me.
It's always good to have a good footman by one side. The world is a very dangerous place.
All the more
Sadly,
dangerous if anyone thinks to have a go at Harmon here. I don't think there's a single man out there who could take him.
I believe I would not like to test that theory tonight. But one day, perhaps soon, we could have a little. I do have jousting and other services, usually in the summer. So if your man Harmon would like to join us for that and test his mettle, he will be welcome.
What do you say to that, Harmon? A chance to show off? Ever the man of many words, Harmon. And see, this is why I truly, truly love you.
He's like, well, the invitation still stands, monsieur. But I see Baroness is calling, and I must attend to my guest. And
Of
he sort
course,
walks up,
sir.
and you see the gaggle of girls. One of them is sort of, a couple of them are like around Harmon, like, oh my god, he's so handsome. Even though he's not even a feline, he's like, I do love me a military man. Yes.
Yeah,
And
Harmon,
the
how are
others
you
like,
responding to all the women coming for you?
Not paying attention.
yeah, which makes him even better. More,
He's so
the
dark and
reaction is like,
mysterious.
yeah, it's more of a reaction. The more he doesn't play to them, the more they're like, enamored with the idea. Spencer, where are you in the gaggle of invitees and the like? What are you doing at this moment?
Well, he would be sticking around Gregory long enough to where the most important, impressive people of the party would have been introduced to him, so they know who he's with and whatnot. And then he would start mingling around like Vesper.
Vesper, you're at the table and you're picking food, and and I hope you're doing the thing is the one for me and two for the needy, right in the pocket, like, and one for me.
Oh
one,
no,
two.
I wouldn't pocket the stuff and take it with me. That would be gauche.
Oh.
No, instead, I'm here to speak to the nobles and ask them. So, if you were to say, just speaking hypothetically, if you were to pass on tomorrow, would you be ready to receive your eternal reward? So I have all necessary skills to ingratiate that in conversation a little bit better.
Yeah. A few people are like, but most people are like, but of course, I donate to the church. Do you know that?
It's beautiful the way that you support, because we know it is the burden that, since you've been chosen by the divine to be the leaders, that you need to serve the example to those less fortunate than yourselves. It warms my heart. More wine. Have you tried this? It's very flowery.
Yeah. Yeah, most of them are receptive to your message, and they speak. What they do is they basically regale you with all the good deeds, all the money they spent. If there's a new monastery to build, they're pouring money into the new cathedral, because of course they want the clerics to pray for them and their eternal soul and all that. Some of them are very gauche, and it says like, yeah, I paid for 100 prayers last night, whatever. That there's a thing where people sort of pray. There's a machine of prayer where they pray for the souls, and hopefully that helps them in the afterlife. And that's basically what they do, right? And they, since you're
right,
here,
and I reassure them, yes, this is a really good thing that you do. It's great. Simony is wonderful. Just keep it up.
Yeah, they assume that basically you're speaking in the name of the church. Most of them are kind of drunk anyway, so they don't care.
Well, I'm the spiritual advisor to the magistrate.
Yeah, of course. And you point at where Griffin is at. It's like, the new magistrate. I've read some things about him, and so Griffin, Clary, you do attract quite a bit of attention. There are other magistrates
Of
here as
course.
well, a couple of them. Uh, one of them, it's relatively friendly to you. The other one is standoffish. He's an
Right.
older gentleman. He too has a footman or a manservant with him. Uh, although, unlike Harmon, the older, he's a hound, and
Mhm.
he's more talkative in that he, every so often he sort of whispers in his master's ear, says something or other, and goes back. He's more standoffish, right?
Mhm.
One of them is very friendly and brings you in and offers to guide you and mentor you. But like most of this work is just going around dealing with petty shit, right? But you just have a keen ear and good disposition. You can deal with this. I heard some rumors that you dealt with some recent problems down south. Even managed to get a ship and everything with a cannon. Oh Lord, you got a cannon. That is wonderful news. Did you know? And she just points around the person.
Oh,
Did you know this
yes.
boy right here brought a cannon to the
Just
city?
think about all the
Oh,
fun you could have with a cannon.
right, a cannon. Uh, and the other one
Yeah,
is
I'm trying to conceal that, back in, Calabria, they have lots and lots of cannons.
but this man is this guy's drunk and is sort of building up your position as a how this is. He builds you, and by association, he himself looks better.
Right, and of course, of all things, this is Gregory's sphere, so he's wise to this, and he's more than willing to, build up someone else who's being a bit friendly and going, yeah, of course, yeah. Maybe you'll get your own cannon too someday. We'll go up from one cannon
Seeing
to two.
as, Triskelion and the Isles are good friends, I'm sure that this will open up trade and prosperity that transcends borders.
I hope so. We have a need for change, I'll tell you. The old ways are fine, but we need friends across the world. We need the goods and services and the new technologies and studies that come with it. If we get stuck in the past, we'll be relegated to the past.
I've always said to enjoy the present while we hope for the future.
True enough, my boy, true enough. Now, where's that pitcher of wine? Or bottle, or whatever?
I
I'll
think
be
it's
right
traveling
back.
that way.
Young man, come back here, you bloody drink. He sort of walks off behind whatever it is. And his wife is like, congratulations, my dear.
Thank you,
Sort of
ma'am.
walks back. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good to know that even though we've traveled like a third of the world away, that people are pretty much the same. They drink too much and talk too much.
As it should be. We need more people drinking and talking.
And,
Oh,
need
look,
more
there's
people
another
donating.
one.
and eventually, as the midnight hour approaches, you see that servants come around and start putting up the lights. And, and you're outside under the stars, and there's a small podium, and there's one of the members of the King's Council, and he is a lion. And let's see what his name is. He's a very important person. So Joseph of House Lyre, as in the instrument. And he is one of the representatives of the other kings, right? He's one of the other faction, rather more liberal faction of the kings, and we can check that out. My memory is kind of foggy, so let's look at the dramatic persona. And he is an ally and servant of King Edward of Telway, who is the Eastern King. You were recently in the Isle of Corwin, which was the eldest son of the High King, the King Edgar. So he stands on the opposite side of the political spectrum, as far as you're concerned, in the convoluted politics of the Isles. And as he's announced, he takes a stage and he sort of bells forth and it's like, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we bring you the heart of the celebration. We have for you today a wonderful display of fire and magic brought to us from Calabria itself. May you gaze upon the heavens and see the spectacle before you. And behind him is the ambassador and his wife, right? Not lined up exactly, but kind of behind him. And as he says that, sparkles flying to the air, and you see, lines of fire, and it's basically a fireworks display starts exploding around, and it's very loud, and some people kind of cringe a little bit, like people who are not used to these explosions, and they're going off. Now, I want to know anybody who has either keen hearing or night vision, one or the other. Whoever has one or the other, raise your hand so I know you actually perceive what happens next. Okay, everyone else is just staring at these fireworks, or looking, in the case of Harmon, covering Gregory.
Quick, everyone, look upwards and not at your wallets.
And as those who are hearing, the fireworks are loud, and so you like, it's maybe a little too. They should have exploded much higher in the air. That makes it more comfortable. But all of a sudden, you hear two things. You hear an explosion that comes not from above, but somewhere behind you, and moments later, you hear the screaming of a woman. And those who have keen sight see like a flash, and you see that the member of the council who was, announcing it, he sort of basically remained where he was standing, looking at the fireworks. He sort of topples over forward, and it takes a little while for people to realize, because most people didn't hear. Some people kind of look around, they kind of have species that allow them to have a keen hearing, but most everybody else is looking at the loud fireworks like that, but the screaming gets louder and louder and louder, until finally part people are like, oh, what's going on here? Ooh, wow, what's going on? And you have a moment to act before the entire crowd sort of notice exactly what's going on.
Well, I would rush to the collapsed man's aid.
Yeah.
I have night vision, so I probably saw the flash. And putting two to two together, I'm going to look at Harmon and go, Harmon, to me, and I'm going to run towards the flash.
Yeah, so you run in the opposite. You basically have to push through people, right? So it's not, it's Harmon basically puts himself in front of, like, starts pushing people away. When people start screaming and complaining, it's like, how dare you? Well,
I have to ask a question. Harmon, are you any good at pushing people the hell out of your damn way?
The best of them.
And I'm the best at shouting at people to get them to move.
Yeah. So they're shouting and stuff like that. What's happening is that the sports person for the council, he's on the floor, he's bleeding, and behind them the ambassador's almost hurt, but the ambassador's sort of falling to one knee, and his wife was the one that's screaming, sort of holding him so he doesn't collapse.
Wait, which one did you say was bleeding or was dying?
The spokesman for the council who announced the fireworks, who said in front.
Yeah,
of him.
goodness, give this man air, and I'm going. If I can get close to him, I will try to attend to his wound.
Yeah, it clearly is. You see it. You've seen it before. This is a bullet wound, right? Somebody shot him, and the bullet went through and hit the ambassador behind him. So
wow.
Yeah, so it's a powerful round, a big round, and probably pretty close too. So whether it came from the crowd itself or somewhere behind.
I'm more concerned with preserving life at the moment.
Yeah, he's gasping. You can see bubbles coming in from the wound. So it probably was in the lungs. He's dying. So whatever you're gonna do, you have to do it now, at least to stabilize him.
Of course I will do it now. Pray, sir, pray with me. I need you to accept the shining light into your heart.
He's grasping your hand. He's like, may the light preserve me and guide me. But he's trying to speak, but he's having a difficult time.
I have a spell that can deal with this, but I need him to roll his will while I roll my academics.
He gets another 2 6s. He has a 6.
He's got a lot of will.
Yeah, he just rolls his will. It's a single attribute.
Oh, sorry.
Well, that's a crappy roll on my part. Well, that's only one success, so I'm going to go ahead and spend my personality which is gluttonous. I didn't spend all that time fortifying myself now to not be ready to heal a person in their time of need.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna go soak my head. No, wait.
It's a 1.
My favorite. I've rolled a 1. My favorite use of academics is medicine. All right, now I'm gonna go soak my head.
Yeah, as you say,
Well,
it's like
that is 1 success. I can prevent him from dying, but I can't prevent him from passing out.
yeah, basically he passes out. You basically take wads of like whatever you can find, clothing, whatever you rips, and you shove it into the wound, right?
Well,
To
no,
make
I'm
sure
casting a spell. I have a spell called the healing spell.
Okay, so basically close.
I'm a healer.
Yeah, somebody will still have to stabilize him. So
Well,
not stabilize him. Make sure that
yeah.
he doesn't.
But yeah, apparently I'm like, you guys all saw that, right?
And behind them,
Dice ate me.
the ambassador, they're picking him up and they're stanching his wound, right? But it doesn't seem as serious, right? Perhaps the fact that he had to go through one body to hit another one was.
Now, I have some thoughts on that, but right now I make sure to get everybody to safety. That would be Vesper's primary concern.
And as you guys, as Griffin is shouting and Harmon is pushing people away, now confusion turns into panic. People start screaming and moving out of the way, and the fireworks are going off, and the lights over you. The only light that he has is the flashes of the fireworks. Anybody has a keen nose? Nose. They can track by smell. Okay.
Well, I just have night vision, so I'd still be able to follow him, although I'm probably behind Armin and Gregory.
Yeah, you're following. You see that basically you reach essentially the back wall of the topiary, right? The topiary. So it's a solid wall. That's where the flash came out. But it took you a while to sort of press through people, stuff like that, and go over tables and stuff like that. So at best, you sort of have the lingering acrid smoke of gunpowder. But then also there's the fireworks overhead, and that too is sort of some of the gunpowder, unspent gunpowder is coming down. So now you have this sort of slight increasing amount of smoke and smell ground gunpowder, and still explosions. Somebody's shouting orders to stop the fireworks so that it doesn't have more noise. People are panicking, going into groups. Footmen are coming in with weapons. They're ready. So it's pandemonium. What are you gonna do?
Well, I won't be able to hear where they went, and you make a very good case. I won't be able to smell where they went. The only thing I have to deal with is my own eyes and the fact that I have night vision, and that maybe if they're somewhere out past the estate, over these topiaries, I'll be able to see them, or maybe some trace of where they've gone. Maybe they left something at the scene too.
Yeah. I have to do a mind and speed with your trait die for your species. I believe that's the rule. Yeah.
All right. So you want mind, speed.
Mm-hmm. See if you can catch them quickly enough. Yeah. And your trait die, your species die.
Species is going to be D8. And would this involve observation?
Hey.
That's going to be 1d4. So I got a fair number of dice in this, and not a single thing. But it might be fair to just go ahead and choose a specialty for observation now.
Okay.
What would be good for this? Night?
You're pursuing a fugitive.
That is also a good point. So what if I put criminals for observation specialty? If it involves trying to hunt them down, there we go. So I will reroll the 1d6 and acquire 1 success in the matter.
Okay. Yeah. And you have an assist from Spencer.
Spencer came with us, so yeah, let's go ahead and roll the extra d8 then, while I'm here. No, I'm just terrible.
Spencer, no.
When you get to you get outside, you go through, and you find that the footmen in front of are in an uproar because someone essentially jumped into a waiting carriage and got out. So basically, you basically hear at the distance sort of the galloping hooves of the forgot the name of
Right,
the word I
they're
just said.
getting away
They're getting
unless
away,
we
yeah.
give chase.
Ah,
So, I have a commanding presence too. I too would like to hop into a carriage and commandeer it.
okay. Well,
All right. So will we just go ahead and say that be just body, will, and presence? All right, I'm gonna hit my scare button because that has all the dice prepared for specifically this. That is definitely 2 successes right there, unless the carriage man is opposing, in which case he has to get better than a 7.
no, I mean he's basically a servant, so he's just like, oh, all right, yes, go, and you basically tumble into the carriage, and he hits the reins, and off away you go.
Yeah.
So the chase is gonna start.
I suppose at this
How
point it
many
would.
are in there? Yeah, because I'd like to have tried to hop in if I could have.
Oh, yeah.
And probably
Yeah.
I'm sure Harmon is following.
I'm not opposing.
Harmon.
At this point, though, I would like to probably go ahead and declare of things that Gregory did and did not bring with him. Probably is not wearing armor to a social event. In fact, he's in his fine clothing. And at best, he probably has his wand on him, because that is easily put into a pocket. And then nothing else.
Meanwhile, at the party, who's left? Vesper, you're alone with now stabilized.
No, we need to get these people, make way. Let's get these 2 out of here. We need to get them, away from this horrible scene and call in healers and such.
Yeah. Basically, they bring him inside.
The court physician or whatever your druid bloodletter basket burners do here.
They do have a doctor. The ambassador has a doctor, and he is a member of the church as well, a healer. And they bring him inside, right, the bed chambers, and they take everybody, and basically the footmen start sort of marshaling people away, right? It's like, party's over. We had an attempt at our lives. I don't know who might attack again, right? And they're stabilizing him. The ambassador is not as hurt as he is. His wife is sort of very nervous. One of the footmen sort of grabs you by the shoulders, like, "Sir, you must leave. Party's over." It's exactly what I said. And what are you going to do? You're going to obey the orders given, or you're going to stay by your?
I'll stay here with them and pray for their convalescence. I mean, they've been gravely injured.
And basically the healer says, "It's fine. He'll help me. Come here, my son. Let's work on this." Right, and so between the two of you, you stabilize both victims.
Yeah, I'm actually having a crisis of faith because I totally blew it today.
Yeah, and the thing is, once they're stabilized, it's going to take a while for them to recover and be able even to speak, especially the councilmen. So what are you going to try to do? Are you going to wait for them to recover, or you?
I would stay here the whole time and listen to any confessions, anything they have, and either wait to be dismissed or wait for my lord to come get me.
Okay. So in the chase, and this is very important, we are going to have to do initiative. I don't have a map, so we're going to do this. This is a chase, so basically we can do it by, by
Abstraction.
nation. So let me see. It's mind speed.
Oh, wait, Spencer, you're actually with us. Okay.
Yeah, and I botched my initiative.
Okay. So, Harmon, you go first. You have a 10. Followed by Dax. Well, no, it's not that. Sorry. Yeah, you all have ability to react, and except for Gregory. That's a waste.
And Spencer's reeling.
Yeah, I just have my wand in my hand now.
Yeah, and you're reeling, and they too can react because they have a success. You have so Harmon, you have